Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the O-State Report. We're glad you're with us. I'm Mason Doherty. 4 people were killed and 47 were injured. It will be months before we know exactly what caused the driver to do this. Within seconds of the accident last Saturday, first responders rushed to heal the wounded. It's safe to say that the Pike members will be happy for moving from here to right here, with the new Pike House to be 32,500 square feet. Being an entrepreneur, you think the only thing you have to worry about is the product and the idea. But really, you also have to worry about how you can present that idea. So when Jacob first started playing tennis, he really liked the fact that he could be independent on the court and not to rely on other teammates, unlike his first sport, volleyball. Little did he know how much he would learn to love doubles more. Going into Oral Roberts on Wednesday, he was going in with a 10-game hitting streak, but that ended, and since then, he's gone 1 for 10. Now, that one hit, though, was a double that he had at his last at-bat yesterday, so I expect him to get out of this slump and be productive today. Now, I have to ask, with this being pretty much the final month of college football, what is your Big 12 prediction? How do you think it's all going to shake out? Here at OSU, the Edmond Library has been a famous landmark since 1953. Students come here to study all night to taking pictures at it for graduation. But for the first time, it's going through a major renovation, and it all starts at the top. It's known for its orange lights that light up throughout homecoming, but that's going to be put on hold. After an inspection 2 years ago, the stones on the bell tower were in a lot worse condition than expected.
So some of the stonework had hairline cracks in them, some of them had pits in them, there was lead paint on the facility.
The limestones were worn down from weathering. The stones will be replaced and filled in with new pins between them. There will also be a new bell and light system. The renovation will cost $1.8 million. But make no mistake, this renovation is not to take away from the traditional look of the library.
What we want to do is restore it to the 1950s look, so the last 60 years. We didn't change the look over the last 50 years, 60 years, but we want to restore it so it'll last another 50, 60 years before we do major maintenance.
It's important that OSU keeps an image to the library that everyone has been able to relate to for so many years.
Our campus itself has a look that people love and is very evocative of OSU, and the Edmond Library embodies that.
Sadly, the bell tower will not be ready for homecoming. The construction is ahead of schedule though. The renovation is expected to be done by the end of December, but there is a 50-50 chance it can be done for fall commencement. For O-State TV, I'm Mason Doherty. We talked about how it began, where it's going, and the future for Mason Rudolph. It's the 1-year anniversary of you playing against Baylor. You know, last season you had the redshirt year, and that was cut off short. And sure enough, now you're starting, playing against Baylor in Waco. Tell me, what's going through your mind?
Last year it was kind of a hectic week. Kind of found out I was playing, I think, on a Monday, so a little early in the week. But it was a good week. I feel like it was definitely nerve-wracking just because it was your first one and you didn't know what it was going to be like, and you're playing a great team like Baylor on the road. So, but I was confident. I felt like our team could go out there and do some good and play well.
Despite a losing effort, Rudolph was all OSU was talking about. He went 13 for 25 for 281 yards and 2 touchdowns. It gave the OSU faithful hope for the future. Rudolph finished the 2014 campaign with a Bedlam win in Norman and a bowl win against Washington. But Rudolph's days of winning began well before that infamous night in Norman. At Northwestern High School in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Rudolph won the state championship his senior year. He also threw for 64 touchdowns and ran for 16 that season. Now, you've had a pretty good college career so far. Only 1 loss. You're undefeated against the Big 12 except for Baylor, of course. And you had a pretty good high school football career as well. Did you expect that winning mentality that you have to translate so easily from high school to college?
Just that winning attitude that you can try to keep with you, and here it's just been a great experience to be around these coaches and these players who push you and try to get the best out of you.
I have full confidence in him being the main guy next year. I mean, the one thing holding him back is the red zone reps. I get that. But with another offseason, more practice, and just seeing how J.W. Walsh does it, I have a lot of confidence in Rudolph going forward. Welcome to another edition of Countdown to Kickoff. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Mason Doherty. Now going from one Big 12 game to another, Baylor versus OSU. Thing I saw most, I think OSU's really missing Ryan Simmons and Jimmy Bean. Those two guys were big on getting tackles for losses. Now that they're injured, you're depending on these depth guys. And about OSU this season, they've had some close, stressful games. Just to name a couple, of Kansas State and West Virginia. We'll get to that later into the show. He did say that it's not really all his fault. There is some blocking issues on the punt team. And honestly, they've actually been facing good punting teams. But Coach Gundy said that, you know what, McCluskey's always had this ability. It was just a matter of time before it showed out. Winning that big game against Oregon, they've always had problems winning that big game, prime time, everyone's watching, but they do it, and they do it well. Give me Michigan State at 3, and then TCU, because I just don't see anyone in the Big 12 beating TCU. Maybe OU when they do visit Norman in November. Yeah, well, I figured since we didn't have a game last week, and it's kind of that midterm area in this season, I figured I'd give an evaluation to our 4 true freshmen on the OSU football team, starting with defensive tackle Darian Daniels. You know, he actually was my first Youngins Award winner this season, while he also got his first career sack against Central Michigan. Mike Gundy had some very good things to say about him.
Darian is playing better than what I thought a true freshman would play in the defensive line.
The thing about Daniels, he actually came in with some credentials. He had looks from LSU, USC, Ohio State, and even OU. Now, Youngin of the Week is going to be defensive end Jarrell Owens, or in other ways, Mr. Clutch. Texas was trying to convert on a 4th down play on the OSU's 39-yard line early in the 4th quarter, but Owens had other ideas. On this play, Owens was able to hold the edge, contain Jarrell Hurd, and pick up his first career sack. As you can see, the OSU sidelines loves that one. The funny thing about Owens, he originally was going to sign with TCU, but after one official trip to OSU, he said, "See you, Fort Worth, I'm going to Stillwater."
Oh, all right over there.
We have our favorite moments for OSU. First one is when Baylor came to town undefeated, and College Game Day was here. We ended up winning that game big. And of course, we had the Fiesta Bowl 2011 season with Whedon and Blackman. And then our dynasty, of course, with wrestling. And then we went to the Final Four in 2004 in basketball. So we like you to rank them 1 through 4. And I see that big, huge crowd right behind the stage. I was like, is College Game Day here? Yeah. So credit the OSU fans for showing up, what, 6 in the morning is when the show started. So you got to think those fans were there maybe 5, maybe even earlier. So props to you fans. In fact, Emmanuel Arbaugh lost his helmet, and by rule, you have to sit out for a play. And so Owens comes in, makes the big sack. Talk about a great first impression. Have some raw speed to him. He did have a 56-yard reception against UCA, and also had his first career touchdown against Kansas State. Thinking about OU performances, going back last week where OU played against TCU in Norman, OU looked like the better team. Now, they did have an injury to their quarterback, which hurt them a little bit, but at the end of the day, they come out when TCU goes for the 2-point conversion. What a gutsy call by Gary Patterson. How about that? In this offense, he's got 5 receptions last week against Texas Tech. And think about him, he's got that speed. All you need to do is get him on those reverse plays because he's going to be able to create space. And that's what you want to do. Put the ball in your playmakers and let them go to work. I expect a lot more activity for him as far as the season goes on. 9 yards on those punts, not too bad. But the key stat for him, he had 28 punts that he downed inside the 20 this season. That was his specialty. With this team this year, and you've been here now for 3 years, going on your 4th senior year, what could you say about this team that separates it from years past? The team controls their own destiny here. You just got to win out, because look at it this way. Ohio State was in the same spot last year at number 6 at this time of the season. So just win, baby, win. Well, thank you for tuning in to Countdown to Kickoff, our Bedlam edition. Enjoy Bedlam. College Game Day coming in town to Stillwater. It's going to be a great one.